This applauses always remind me of a story that I had from Erasmus in Portugal. So thank you guys so much for getting the intro on. I'm Alex, your host of the English Spaces of the World Challenge game, and I would like to thank everybody for participating and being with us today. If you don't know me, I'm a marketer. I'm the host of our Ordinary podcast. I'm running the spaces in partnership with World Challenge Game. And if you are new to the game, I want to tell you a couple of words about it. I know a couple of you here already know about it, but I would like to do a quick intro because I assured it's not just a board game. So first of all, it is a board game, but it is a lot more than that. It has a vibrant community that has become the meeting point of all those passionate about like challenge, innovation, and of course gaming. And they explore basically the latest trends in tech, business, culture, and much more through challenges and competitions that test your skills, intelligence, and world knowledge, which is basically one of the things that I love most about it. And I'm guessing I'm debating about it with absolutely everybody that comes on these spaces. The goal is to transform the way we understand learning, turning in turning it into a continuous adventure, basically with every space and every challenge, and every interaction that we have. We designed it to empower, inspire, and why not entertain you. With Moreover, in these spaces we bring like a lot of amazing people that are from the gaming industry in Web3, and not only. They're friends of ours. They're people that we're getting in contact with. They're partners, and we're trying to dig into their knowledge and experience and understand the industry a little bit better with every space that we run. So one of the things that I want to tell you before we continue is that this is an open space discussion, and it's an open space for interaction. So, guys, in case you guys have any questions, or wanna participate in the conversation or the debate, please raise your hand, and I'm gonna try to get you on the stage. Um, and obviously, before I forget, because I always seem to do that, I highly recommend you following the World Challenge Game account here on Twitter, because or X, whatever you want to call that, as the guys are preparing something cool very very soon, and you're gonna be finding out about it in the upcoming days. So if you want to stay up to date, please do so. Yeah, now that I've done this hope not very long intro, I would like to welcome on stage our speakers. But before that, I want to tell you that for today we're going to be talking about the power of NFTs in gaming. So I'm very very curious what our speakers have to say about it, and what is their experience with using NFTs in gaming. We have four amazing speakers, almost five, or actually five. We'll see how we're gonna welcome the last one here. So we should have Sakura Labs. We should have Josh, with whom I've seen here already from Angelo app. We have David, and we also have Alliance Games, who are already here. I would like to welcome you guys, and thank you so much for being with me today. First of all, how are you? Okay, if you don't want to tell me how you are, I would like to say happy birthday to
Well,
Josh first of all.
oh, here we go.
Yes.
Thank you.
Hi Josh, happy birthday.
Thank you.
How are you today?
I'm good. I'm good. It's well, my birthday, but what better gift than to be able to talk to all of you?
For sure. For sure. I hope you're gonna be enjoying this space as much as we're enjoying having you here. What about you other guys? We have, I'm not so sure who we have from Alliance Games.
Yeah, hi, it's Jordan Wisman. I'm the marketing lead for Alliance Games and Chain of Alliance. Shall I give a
Hi,
short introduction?
please.
Yeah, by the way, I have a 10-month-old daughter next to me, so if you hear any sounds, then it's her. Everything is going okay.
We're
But
kind of
I'm
used to that.
great, great. So yeah, I've joined the Web3 space since February last year, and I'm coming from the traditional gaming space. So I've worked at companies like Sony PlayStation, Rockstar Games, working on GTA 5, Red Dead Redemption 2, and now coming into this space for first for Chain of Alliance. That's our main game at the moment. We have our alpha build last year and recently released our beta build. You can play it at play.chainofalliance.com. And just recently, we did a rebranding towards Alliance Games because now we're this platform where we try to have our community own like all the data, so data storage. All that knowledge is always partly off chain for a video game, like the gameplay mechanics, and we're trying to solve that with getting everything on chain, which also means like the game will never go offline, even if the developer, the publisher will stop supporting the game. The data will be on this platform via the nodes, and you as a user are part of it, and you can earn work tokens by doing so. And this will also be when the MVP launches in hopefully a week, where we'll start with the data storage, and that yeah, you can start earning work tokens, and that will be tradable for Koa, which will have a TGE soon this year. Thank you.
Well, thank you. This sounds very exciting, actually. I love it when I see progress in the Web three for Web three projects. I'm obviously like gaming is a different beast. Let's say. I want to give the chance to Josh now that we've started introducing yourselves. Like I want to ask him to introduce himself as well, like very quickly before we move on.
Yeah, so I'm Josh Royce, and I'm the co-founder and chief operating officer of Angelo Ecosystems. We are a launchpad and exchange for Web3 gaming tokens, as well as now launching GG Fund, which is our venture arm, which under which we have multiple projects going at the moment.
Oh, I think I was talking by myself. I don't know why I got muted.
Oh, you're on
Um,
mute.
apparently I was on mute. I was like, why is nobody answering? But then I realized I was saying that I would like to ask Tony to quickly introduce himself as well because I would like to get him into the conversation as today.
Hello, hello. Here I am. Well, I'm sorry for having this little kid. I have also a little border collie here that will start barking any moment soon. And well, I'm really happy to be in this space. I love gaming, and it was like my introduction in this world of Web3. I was really soon into Axie Infinity, and it's really exciting to have these let's say after work calls with people listening, and well, happy to find new ideas and discuss them.
Thank you, Tony. So excited to have you guys here with me. I think we're still waiting for somebody else, but like until they come on stage, let's say, or until they manage to join the space, if they manage to do that, I would like to kind of kick off this conversation and ask you guys like, what do you think is the real ownership of digital assets through NFTs? And do you think it will change how developers design and monetize games in the future? I'm guessing, and I've known like it's been a really big debate when it comes to NFTs and their introduction to gaming. So I would like to know what's your opinion, and if you want, like we can start with you, Tony, because you're here. I see you're the first one right next to me in this space, and then we can go to Josh and Jordan after that.
Okay, for me, the NFT technology applied to video games it's like back to the past, let's say, because at the beginning of the times people owned everything. They have their own video games and they have to bring them physically to their friend's house, or they had these cards that they could trade on a marketplace, no, in a physical marketplace. And then we give away all this freedom to get more facilities and to make gaming easier, no? And it's the era of big video games from big companies. And now this technology, it kind of mixes both worlds and let us go to the past in the sense of having this freedom of owning the assets, no? But at the same time, being able to play from our house, and then I can trade freely my assets on game. And I think it's, well, the natural evolution of gaming, and it's something that will happen more soon than late.
Um, could be. What about you, Josh? Like, what do you think? Because I know you work with a lot of games as well.
Yeah, so for me, Web3 gaming in general is all about ownership, right? And an easy way to transfer ownership is through NFTs, right? And so I think the most incredible thing that's happening, or the most innovative thing that's happening, is you're seeing organizations pop up to try to create standards of how these NFTs are hosted, so that you can port them from game to game. So the example that I love to use when I'm talking is Usain Bolt, right? So explaining that when Tony, if Tony goes running today, Tony, you're gonna go to Nike tomorrow. You're gonna buy a new pair of shoes. You're gonna go running. When you're done running, those shoes are worth less than when you bought them because they're used. But if Usain Bolt goes and buys a pair of spikes and then runs a sprint in them, uh, they're worth more after he's worn them than before. And so it's as we're treating gamers more like athletes with esports rising in fame. We have the esports festival starting in Saudi Arabia and here in 2 weeks. It's an 8-week long esports festival. um, the more we treat gamers like athletes, the more the assets that they use in game uh, can become collectible and valuable, and therefore portable. And when we uh, are able to transfer those assets through a uniform means like NFTs, it makes the whole ecosystem thrive and just be much more engaging to the user.
I was under the impression that this is still gonna continue. What about you, Jordan? Like, what do you think about it? How do you see it?
Yeah, yeah. For me, like coming from work on games like GT Online, like the free space for me is like an answer, a solution to a lot of issues gamers currently have in gaming, traditional gaming. For example, with GT Online, you do already have this whole economy within the game. The only problem is that Rockstar Games owns everything. So they set the prices, they set the mechanics of the marketplace. Like nothing is owned by the user. And for me, that was like the because to be clear, like I didn't know anything about crypto coming in this space. Like I got convinced by people in the industry, and I was like, this made so much sense to me. And also like we got when work at Rockstar, like we got a lot of comments on prices, on like the ownership, and I feel like by having this Web3, all the blockchain possibilities, you solve it all for a lot of players. And I do understand like a lot of mainstream players right now don't see it as an issue just yet. They don't know that Web3 space, the blockchain technology, is a solution, and it's one of the challenges we currently have to make it clear and not be scaring people away talking about NFTs, talking about crypto, but delivering a solid gaming experience while giving out these solutions. And for me, like this is really exciting, and even going beyond that with like the whole modding scene in traditional gaming. There's so much to gain from it with the blockchain technology. Like, and again with GT Online, it's still alive because of the community. The community is creating all these role playing servers, this content. But the ones that are profiting from it again are Rockstar Games. I feel like that shouldn't be the case. Like that if you put time, effort, resources in making this game successful and creating this amazing experience, you should be part of of getting value out of it as well. Like you should be getting revenue. Thank you.
I feel like you've got a debate here. So I would like to get maybe Josh and Tony to say what they think about about what you just mentioned. Who wants to go first?
Well, go Crocs.
No, no, go ahead, Tony. Go ahead.
Oh,
Go
sorry.
ahead.
Okay, no, because this point is really interesting. No, this comparison with the traditional video game market and this ability that they have to monopolize the gaming sector. No, so basically, Rockstar has zero incentives to go and compete on Web3. They sell the car in GTA Online, and they don't want you to sell your car to another player, even though if they get the 50%, they don't care. Obviously, they want all the money for them. So it's that let's say that the ball is on our roof, and we are the ones that have to do a video game that is as good as the traditional video games, and then players, when once they see blockchain as a technology and not as a product, that the product blockchain is the one that this big industry, made a lot of effort to put the tag of scam, be careful with your money, and so on. Once we create a game that doesn't look too much blockchain and people try it and say, wow, it's like GTA, but I can sell the car that I just bought. No, it's that simple. I mean, it's there's no way that people doesn't prefer that.
What about you, Josh? What do you think
Yeah, I
about
mean,
it?
agreed. They. I like to look at Fortnite as a good example. You have basically tweens to 35-year-olds spending between $420,000 a year on skins and in-game assets, right? And essentially, those assets are worth nothing the second that they buy them. And what we're providing via NFTs and via Web3 tokenization of assets in general is the ability for those purchases to have some value. Now, whether it's less value than when you bought it or more or the same is mostly up to the hype around the item and how you use it. But at least we're putting the control in the hand of the players instead of in the conglomerates, which I think is part of the democratization of the space and the decentralization of that Web3 provides. And I think it's a beautiful thing because again, you know, these games are nothing without their players, right? You can build the coolest game in the world. If nobody plays it, it's like the old verbiage of the old adage of if a tree falls in the woods and nobody hears it, did it really make a sound? Well, if a game is created and nobody plays it, did you really make a game? um, so that being said, we need to put the control back in the hands of the community, and I think that's what tokenization of in-game assets does.
For me, it's very interesting because, like, obviously, I mean, I don't know if obviously, but I'm not a gamer. But I feel like every time I've ever since I've been running the spaces, I learn something cool about it, or like new opinions. And I feel like something that has been discussed quite a lot recently is that it's a lot of discussion about like bringing Web 2 gaming into Web 3. Whereas initially I thought like it's so much more, or it's so much about like Web 3 gaming in general. And then we have all this discussion about like how we make these spaces like so much better for those who enter. Um, and or like more accessible, let's say. And I think like my next question actually ties pretty well with what we have just discussed. And the question is like, what do you think are some ethical and legal challenges that could arise with the rise of NFTs in gaming, particularly in terms of like copyright and intellectual property rights? Like, is there anything you see in this direction happening?
So
Alex, can we discuss a little bit more the previous topic, because I find it really exciting, and regulation is more boring. We can do it later, but I mean, I think that there are some things that we need to say. Uh, I wanted to say one thing that shows a lot of how the market of traditional video game works. No, look, at the beginning, at least, we could sell our game after playing for 1 year. You go and you sell it on Wallapop or something, and And now it's impossible because you buy it digital and you cannot even sell your own game. So the solution that we're providing, and maybe that's a mistake we're committing, that we're insiders from the Web3, and we explain the things in a very boring way or not attractive for people that just want to play and have fun. But I think that if we focus on selling our products as, you will be able to, okay, selling the game, probably not, but everything inside the game, it's something that you can resell once you are tired of playing. Not talking about rewards or you will get rich by clicking a button. No, just play, have fun, and once you are tired, maybe the valuation of your assets is bigger and you can get paid for your time. No? Yeah, Allianz, jump in.
Yeah, sorry, I'm back. Oh.
Oh my god, I'm always on mute. I was saying that I was asking you, Tony, if you want to ask the other guys as well, because it feels like it's a pretty sensitive topic for you. And I've also noticed that Jordan had like his hand up as well.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to say that this whole the technology from blockchain, like Jos also mentioned really well, I think, with giving the control to the user. I think it's also something that's very important for a new generation. I think Tony said it as well, with going back to how it was, with that you really own things. And I think with a new generation where the digital persona is so much more important than it is for me. For example, I'm 43. I have little kids. For me, it's nice to have, but it's not that important when I play a game because I'm used to it, like to play it the old school way. But I think for new generation that are way more digitally active with their digital persona, I think it's something we need to strive for. I think we need to make sure that the stuff they're buying, that is worth something, that it is of value, and that they have more to say in all the projects that are coming in right now, and not just these centralized companies that take all the money towards themselves, with again the community adding value to their project to make profits.
But does this mean though that we have to find different types of solutions that would actually appeal to what you just said, or to like building an asset, let's say, for the future, not just something that would be maybe worthless, as Josh mentioned?
For me, that's all like part of getting there where you want to be, to make sure this industry is viable. Like for me, there will be mistakes. There will be NFTs that are worthless. Like right now, especially with this industry, the image of the industry of making money just being on crypto, not even talking about the possibilities of blockchain. It's all about, first, the industry needs to grow up, it needs to professionalize, and that's something that I see happening at a lot of different projects that are making some great steps. But then it's making sure that the product is more mainstream, it's more accessible. Like everybody's talking about it for a thing for a few years now, and getting the experience way more on a level of traditional space, of the Web2 space. And I think then we'll get there. So for me, it's all this learning curve that we as an industry have to go through, and I don't see another option. And gaming has to sort of move this way. And in the end, it's all about the user. Like, do they want to have this control? It's up to them. If they are playing games with similar experience, but in these Web3 games, they control it, they own it. Like they can then choose to go that way. And then bigger companies that don't want to change this because they like the way it's centralized, they like the control they have over the consumer, they'll have to change, because otherwise they don't have a consumer left.
Actually,
I mean,
please.
we've been talking recently with a big Web2 gaming company that I can't name, but they're trying to build a Web3 metaverse game. And essentially, the biggest issue that they run into in a Web3 metaverse game is making it compatible with VR. You have to go through these companies like Meta, for example, and Meta won't allow you to sell, Web3 assets on their platform because it doesn't permit them to take their 30% cut. And if we think about the level of control, I recently just read Read Write Own by Chris Dixon. And we think about the control that these companies have, and the quantity, the percentage by which they've raised the fees that are imposed on the developers of games through their platforms. They control the entire platform. They have the market completely monopolized. And so I think today we have 500 some odd million Web3 users. People, whether they're people who own crypto or people who interact with Web3 ecosystems in general, we have about 6% of the population. And essentially, you look at a market like, I don't know, Saudi Arabia, for example, where 66% of people consider themselves gamers, and of those 66%, close to 50%, I think it's 47%, but don't quote me on that, are women. And you look at a market with such opportunity for gaming, and you really want to induct them into a space where essentially gaming stops being what my parents used to call a waste of time, because all of a sudden there's a goal, there's a purpose beyond just what's in the game, whether it's a play to earn model, whether it's collecting assets and making them more valuable. You give people the opportunity to have a purpose online, not just to exist. And I think that's extremely important also, while democratizing the space and allowing the users, again, who are driving this whole thing, to decide what's important to them in the game, versus allowing companies like Meta, Rockstar, or any of the other large gaming studios to decide what's important for us.
Let me ask you guys like a question, which, because I feel like this is gonna help us continue the conversation. But actually, first of all, I wanna tell the audience, because I don't want to leave this information till the end. We have a surprise for you. So if you go on the pinned link to this Twitter space, you will find the link to Galaxy or to OAT. I think it's OAT. Sorry. Yeah, it's your OAT on Galaxy. Wow, it was such a complicated thing to do. And then you add the keyword NFT game. So NFT with capital letters, G capital letter, and AME, and you're gonna be able to redeem your OAT. And with that, you're gonna be entitled to get some prizes from World Challenge Game. Now, I want to ask you guys a question, because I've been dying to to sneak into the conversation as well with this. Like, what I actually have two questions in one. What are some ways that you think like we can raise the adoption of Web2 gamers into Web3, and what are some stuff that we need to educate them more about? Because in my opinion, that's an issue generally in Web3, not just in gaming. But I want to hear your thoughts as well.
Ooh, ooh, ooh. Can I start?
Please. It's your
All right.
birthday today, so I'll let you go first.
So there's a couple things. The first thing is, like, I'm a strong believer. I'll say I'm bullish for the purpose of this conversation on the Ton network, on the Telegram network. And the reason for that is because there's a ton of Web2 gaming communities that have these massive groups on Ton. And Ton has now created the ability, Telegram has created the ability for us to build games in Telegram that you don't even have to leave the Telegram app to play. And so essentially, what we can do on top of that, you have 1.3 billion users on Telegram, 900 million daily active. And of those 900 million, only like 50 million are Web3 people. And the rest all have a native wallet on their Telegram app that they don't know exists. And so essentially, there's a huge opportunity to basically, as Web3 people, infiltrate these Web2 groups, and show that there's an ability to game and earn. And then all of a sudden, we're educating people, on a system where the UX is very friendly, to learn how to play Web3 games, or at least learn what they are. That's the first thing. The second thing is, I think strongly, and I tell this to every game that we work with, we spend too much time telling people that we are Web3 games. Nobody cares. If I send you a text, Alex, right now, you don't care how it arrived. You care that it arrived, and you care that it arrived fast, and you care that it arrived accurately, and you care that what I wrote is what you received. But you don't care, which cell phone towers it hit, which network it went through, how much of my phone plan paid for that specific text message to be sent to you, because you don't care. You just care that it works. And it's the same thing with gaming. I think the large majority of users really, really don't care, as long as they're having a good time or earning. And so, I think from a marketing perspective, Web3 gaming projects spend way too much time identifying themselves as Web3 gaming projects. You're not a Web3 gaming project. You're just a gaming project. The fact that you have a Web3 component is a great plus, but it's not like the thing that's going to make people come to you. It's something that might make them stay, but what's going to make them come is the fact that they're having a good time playing the game. And if you have a shitty product that makes a good amount of money or that has a great play to earn model, like, people might stay, but realistically at the end of the day you're better off having a great product with lower earnings than an average product with high earnings.
Jordan?
Yeah, sort of saying what I wanted to say, Josh, because I'm totally with you on that one. Because I feel like the one thing that we currently in this industry, at least when I came in, are approaching wrong is that we want to explain everything. And like I went to the Web3 festival in Hong Kong and I saw those banners that they had there, and so much text, so much they want to explain. And I think maybe for a free audience that makes sense, but if you want to go mainstream, you shouldn't be explaining anything. The game should just be a great experience. And that's why I also believe in an indie game making that step and not a AAA game, because competing with a GT Online or with an Assassin's Creed or whatever AAA game, you just don't have to, not just the means, you don't have the experience. Like, it takes years to make games at that level, and even those companies make still a lot of steps going wrong. So I feel like if this space can create a game that's accessible and that's just fun to play, like even a game like Flappy Bird in the past, like if it's just fun to play without them understanding that it's a Web3 game, and maybe even when a wallet is also way more accessible, then they will make that step. Or for example, with a game like Nine Heroes, you get in because it's a game that you're able to have an experience like a Fortnite game, like an Apex, uh, but it's a Web3 in essence. So you're playing this Web2 game. Hopefully, you have a good experience, and then the rest of the community will hopefully inform you of what else is possible, or you notice while playing the game, like you're earning something. What does it mean? And then you start searching because you're playing this game. You like this game. And I feel like those are games that are on the forefront of changing this towards to gain a Web2 audience. And yeah, but I still think it's difficult at the moment. But hopefully these games will open more doors, and that will be the next step towards mainstream audience.
Well, I completely agree with everything you said. So from our side, let's say from the people building games, basically we have to focus on doing good products and stop talking to people that doesn't care about Web3, about the technology, about how it works, no, and talk about, well, or not talk what you said. No, you do a fun game, they arrive, and then they still in the game for the technology and everything that you have. No, so we need to stop being preachers maybe of the Web3 technology, focusing only on building good products and stop talking. And then from the other side, from the things that we cannot control, uh, and coming back to a little to that barrier that we have with the Web2 users, no, that it's the publishers basically. I think that it's something that it is about time. I mean, okay, Meta doesn't want now to do this, but in a global world with free market in 5 years, maybe in China, somebody will say, wow, there's a huge opportunity here to build the competition. And then will come Meta and will destroy them because they will just allow blockchain products, and that company will disappear, but not after doing something very heroic for the space, no? And I think that it's all about time on that sense. And from our side, yeah, it's about stopping being preachers of the Web3.
Something I always I like to ask and want to ask, because I feel like every time these conversations just go around like how we can get to Web 2 gamers into Web 3, and obviously it's something super important because you go straight to the point, let's say. But something I want to ask you guys, and hope you don't mind me, is like what how do you think we can get, first of all, like more women into Web 3 gaming? I know I've seen some stats, and I know last time I met Josh, I've debated with him about it as well. And two, like how we can get like more people to play, or like how we can make these games more appealing for like a larger amount of people. One of the reasons why I think I mentioned in the beginning, of this space is like one of the reasons why I like World Challenge Game is actually because of this, because it's super accessible, it's appealing to absolutely everybody. So I want to know quickly what you guys think. I see three raised hands, so let's go first with Jordan.
Yeah, for me, this is, I think it's not easy, but it's a pretty easy solution. It's all about the product you're creating. Like I just mentioned, you want to make a fun experience, not a Web3 experience. And I think
A
it goes the
thousand
same if
percent.
you want, it's the same, sorry?
I said 1,000%.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Then again, like if you're aiming, and by the way, I think it's a really good question because in our team of making this game, like I don't want to give away too much, but we're also trying to see how we can use our assets for chain of alliance, and from that build prototypes for other games, as we're now a platform and want to give other experiences. But when you look at our development team, it's mostly guys. So then I'm like, okay, you're coming with these kind of games, but we also want to appeal to women, right? Like they're also a big group, especially when you're going mobile. And with our game, we're currently a browser game, and hopefully in time we can go back to a mobile game. Like you want to appeal to a whole audience, you want male and female. So you have to have experience that appeal to both, but you also have to have a development team that understands it. So you have to have women on board. I think that's also one of the issues right now in this space, because usually, and especially in the Western world, because our team from that's more basically focused on the platform of Alliance Games, most of them are women, and that's my personal experience. But like you see a lot of people from Asia that I meet are women, and in the West it's mainly men. So hopefully in time, but this is a bigger issue as well. Like it's like a really a cultural issue that you don't have examples for women that are big in this space, that are enjoying this space, that are successful in this space, and they're here and they're getting more attention, and of course are doing well. But it should be way more. And I think if we can make those steps, then definitely more women will follow. And it's at least something that our project is aiming to support.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, honestly, it's like it's one of those things where, like, to be completely honest, I think that in a lot of ways men can be myself included, we can be very like primitive, right? So we play a game, we're like, kill that guy, yes, instant gratification, like awesome, like we got the dopamine hit, let's move on to the next thing. Oh, we earned some money by doing this, or we earned some token by doing that. Like there's that moment of like instant gratification. And because most games are today on developed by men with very little input from women, this is what it's targeted at. I think the more we build interest, the more, first of all, the more we onboard female developers, which there are more and more of, by the way, um, that are able to build games that are have a little bit more depth of story, depth of character, depth of playability. The more we'll see women start to play them, and continue to play them. Because I think a lot of the projects that we see today, maybe at first, I bet if we had access to the data, I'd be willing to wager on the fact that if we had access to data on this at the very beginning of a project launch, just as many women probably play it as men, but the men stay, because the men get that piece of like instant gratification, versus the women who, like, after trying it once, are like, whatever, this was nothing that added significance to my life. And so again, like, I think it all starts from the beginning, right? So the more we have the input of female developers when creating these games, the more female players will flock to them.
Well, it's hard to add something to what you said, because I thought that it was the same. We raised hands at the same time because the question was quite obvious because the developers are mostly men, and we are men arriving to a virgin land where you can build anything. So basically, you're gonna build a game. They give you completely freedom. There's no competition, and you say, okay, I want to make a shooter or I want to conquer the world because we're basically males building. No, I mean, if the market was wiser or more developed or it were more profitable, then I'm sure that even men would start doing Candy Crush or games of this style that are more engaging for women in Web 2. And it's something that it's going to happen. But since we are kind of testing models and testing how we bring all these Web 2 users, it's like, yeah, we're in a testing period. And once the space starts working and Web3 games have the same users than Web2 games, and there's no difference, obviously there will be a lot of competition for the women because as players, as customers, women are incredibly good value for games as, for example, Dragon City. They have women. The top spenders of Dragon City are all women, for example. No, so we want them here, obviously.
I I do I do have a lot of questions for you guys tonight, but I'm gonna try to be aware of the time. I actually have two. I'm gonna ask you two questions, so you answer. Maybe one of you answers one of you answers the something else, and then we can maybe cover both of them. One of them is regarding like democratizing access to investment in the gaming industry, especially because we spoke about like how we can get more people involved into the gaming industry. And the second question is regarding examples of games leveraging NFTs to innovate. So I don't know which one wants to take which questions, or if you have any opinion, or if everybody wants to answer the same thing. But I'm gonna throw it at you and let you decide.
Yeah, so when we talk about onboarding, female developers into Web3, um, the main thing is like, we see in Web2 gaming, for example, a huge round of layoffs recently, and not a small amount of those people are women, and so it's about, it becomes something where it's in the hands of, the person who's pioneering the project, the CEO or the founder, um, to recognize that opportunity. And I think the three of us on this space have that recognition, but unfortunately I think that not everybody does. And I think it's our responsibility as people who have you know some degree of success within this space, to mentor people that are interested in becoming a part of it. And if we can, I'm not a believer, I'm a believer in merits, right? So um if I'm looking at two different people to hire, or two different people to mentor, I'm going to mentor the person that I think has the most potential. But I think that that's not always the case, unfortunately, and so it's about changing that mentality. And the more we do spaces like this, and the more we discuss, the value that women bring to the table in terms of creating these types of projects, the more people will hear it, and people will adopt it, and the more we'll see a change. So it's all about starting small and doing what you can individually, and hoping that it catches like wildfire.
So product and diversification, from what I understand from you, from the previous conversation, and right now as well. What about you guys, like Tony, Dorn? What do you guys think? And if you want to give some
Well, for me,
examples of games that have used NFTs to innovate, please let me know, or like please share with everybody here.
yeah, well, I think mostly at the beginning of Web3 space, about the question, this is in relation to the question of democratizing the investment of fundraising of Web3 games. I think that no one does this as Web3 games. Look at Star Atlas, for example. Um, we did finance we did finance it by buying these JPGs of very expensive spaceships, and I think that the investment is really democratized in this space in general. Every time it's getting more centralized, no? Because at the end, now the products are tending more to be similar to Web 2 products with these functionalities of ownership and so on. But basically, I think that it's something that we did well.
Jorn?
Let me say something on the on projects and NFTs, because I feel like on that side there's still so much to develop and to learn right now, because there are so many different protocols still coming up. Like we're currently with our game with Chain of Alliance, we're on Chromia, which I believe not a lot of people still know. It's a blockchain developed by Chromia, which will be going in mainnet later this year. And they've also done a different protocol where you can when you give a little more data to the NFT. So, for example, with assets in game, they can be used for limited time or 3 times. You can use them 2 times in game, like this very powerful NFT with a very powerful weapon, and then you can still sell it because it still has one turn to use. And I feel like in that case, like there's not, for me at least, there's not a game that really is doing it differently, or protocols doing it differently. I think we're still like searching what different kind of things we can do with the technology we have. I do believe like it's all about value. What value can you give to the NFT? And I think that's what we're doing right now also with Chain of Alliance, with trying to see, okay, we have all these assets. You play with your PvP battler as it is right now. We're trying to create more PvE content, and how, in what different ways can you use it? Not just in the game, but also maybe the same asset in a different game. For example, Axie Infinities does this, of course, as well, and maybe other games also. And I feel that's also about value. What value can you give to the NFT as a project?
Thank you for your thoughts. So we have 10 more minutes of this space. I want to remind everybody to go on the pin post of this Twitter space, get your OAT from a Galaxy, add the keyword NFT game, and NFT and G with capital letters. So make sure that you spell that right. I want to do something a bit fun because I mentioned at the beginning that I also hope that I can entertain you guys. So I'm gonna ask you something randomly. I have a couple of like fun questions and personal questions for you. And I'm gonna start with okay, let's start with Josh. Um, what tell us about your first platonic love in the world of video games?
Oh God.
If it's too complicated, I can change the question.
Um, like as like a person in the space that I loved, or a game.
No, it's a game. So okay, I'm gonna let you choose. Okay, just because
Okay.
it's a special day for you. So you can tell me about your first platonic love in the world of video games. So that's a game. All we can you can tell us about a guilty pleasure in gaming.
So no, yeah, I'll go with the platonic love in gaming. It was a game when I was I don't know, maybe like 7 or 8 years old, that I begged my parents to buy me on the iPad, uh, which tells you just how young I am. Um, uh, which was called GameStar West Coast Hustle, and it was like basically like GTA, but on mobile, but more violent. And I guess it ties into the guilty pleasure part, which is that this game had a whole like purpose of like, you know, there were missions and things to do, and for the probably 2 or 3 years that I played this game, I never completed a single mission. I just ran around downtown LA, shooting police officers and taking their money until they killed me.
I mean, it sounds like a game for a perfect game for somebody who's 7 or 9.
Yeah, super
Um,
super super healthy for a child to play this game.
An incredible confession, and I didn't know that you were so young. I was thinking in games like not Sonic maybe, but far older.
Yeah, no, I was on the iPad, like the second generation iPad at like 8 years old.
Guys, let's not like discriminate here, okay? Everybody's welcome. Tony, I actually have a question for you as well. What is your biggest success when it comes to Web3 gaming? Like, was it the campaign that you guys did and you thought it was very successful? Like, what is something that you want to share?
Okay, first of all, let me say that mine was by city, so it was similar on a way. And then, since he was so transparent, and I will try to do the same. So my biggest or starting achievement on Web3 space was one day that I was kind of traumatized and almost drunk, I can say. And I decided to sell everything I had on Binance and put it everything on Lands and Axis in Axie Infinity. And that weird decision that I was trying to justify in front of my friends when nobody was investing in Axie Infinity was one of the best economical decisions of my life. So probably, yeah, that was a very good one. At least the first one I did.
I mean, I'm laughing so hard here, guys. It's insane. But good for you. Good for you. And I want to ask Jordan as well. I'll let you hear at the end. Okay. What is your guilty pleasure in Web3 or in gaming, not just Web3 gaming? And if you could have dinner with anybody from a video game, who would it be and what would you ask them?
Wow. Okay. First of all, I don't believe in guilty pleasures. I believe like everyone likes their niche, so there are no guilty pleasures. Everything is fun to play, and probably I have something that is a guilty pleasure, but I would know myself because I feel like that this is just a fun game. And by the way, I play like all kind of games, like being in the industry for so long. Like I've played like every sort of games, and I have a huge backlogs, especially coming into Web3. And then taking a video game character out to dinner. Well, to be honest, I won't, because I'm very happy with my girlfriend. So I won't be doing any of this. But well, while I'm whispering, maybe Aerith from Final Fantasy VII, like that was my game. So I will take her out to dinner. That seems like fun. Although living, not dead, because in the end, of course, spoiler alert, she's dead. So
No, nobody
yeah,
said
it will be
nobody
my
said
own.
a date. You didn't have to take it there. It could have been platonic.
Oh, dinner. Oh, no. I want a date. I want a date.
Well, that was fun. That was fun. Thank you for sharing that. And I wanna thank you guys for being with me today. I wanna thank Josh, especially. I know I've been saying about him like so many times, but like I know he took from his time from his birthday to run this space, and he told me that he's gonna be doing this ever since I invited him. So thank you so much. I wanna thank Tony. I wanna thank Jordan as well, and I wanna thank everybody for being with us today. Don't forget to hit follow the World Challenge game to make sure that you stay up to date to the upcoming updates. Yeah, that's what I can do today when it comes to wording. I hope you enjoyed it. We're hosting English Spaces every 2 weeks. So if you have any guests or if you have any feedback or anything you wanna suggest, please let us know. Hit me up. Hit the guys up. You have a couple of the team members here in the audience as well. DM World Challenge Game, and yeah. Thank you so much again. Hope you
Thank
have a
thank you
lovely
thank
evening.
you, Alex, and thank you for having us. And I think I speak for everybody when I say that we had a great time. And as far as I'm concerned, if there's one thing that I love more than what I do, it's talking about what I do. So this was a gift for me.
I know
Yeah,
that's why
thank
I
you, Alex.
invited
It
you
was
here.
really cool space, Alex. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. See you next time.
Yeah, thank you. Cheers.
Bye bye.